We have not taken any deliberate positioning either way going into the election, partly because it's obviously too close to call, and partly because actually if you look at it on a medium to longer term view, the actual effects of US presidential elections in terms of market performance is relatively negligible. Yeah, and obviously if we look at where we are right now, certainly for the US economy, third quarter GDP growth at 2.8%, very respectable, certainly a figure to die for amongst the G7. That remains still very robust, employment still very strong. Obviously, as a pocketbook election, there's big suggestions that people aren't feeling that as far as their paychecks, and certainly are feeling that with regards to inflation, because although inflation is moderating, prices have not dropped back.
Do you agree that inflation, the cost of living, is probably the key issue in this election?
It would appear so, and for obvious reasons. I think that inflation would have been high and upwardly pressurised regardless of who was in the White House because of the spending measures that need to be taken post-COVID, and it's not exactly a phenomenon that is limited to the United States, but it is something that the incumbent governments have to take on the chin. So if we look at that on a longer term basis, though, I agree with you, the sort of the more benign outcome for markets at least is a split Congress. If the House of Representatives goes to the Democrats, if the Senate goes to the Republicans, and you have a president of a different party, at least that will temper some of the wilder spending promises that have been made during the course of the election campaign, which is no bad thing.
Steve, if it is Trump and if he does choose to escalate the tariff regime, not just against China, but rest of the world, then do we have to rip up the script as it applies to APEC?
It's obviously not going to be good for anybody who exports to the United States, and obviously there will be countervailing tariffs imposed on this side of the world as well for US companies that export to Asia. The interesting thing is, though, that if you look at the tariffs that were imposed during the first Trump presidency, the effects of those, there was that flurry of market concern and so forth, but in fact, markets and economies adjusted to that. The Biden administration has basically kept those tariffs in place. So the US economy has adjusted to that. Yes, it's had an effect on inflation. There will be further inflation that is baked into the cake as a result of new tariffs coming in. And that goes against Trump's commitments to reducing inflation overnight, I think he said on his first day in office. So good luck with that one.